Hey there, Fletcher from All Things Overlanding here, and today I'm going to be doing a really quick updated walk around of my 2023 Nissan Frontier Pro 4X. This thing, I did a walk around not too long ago. I'll put a card up in the upper right hand corner here to that, but I've done a lot of new things since then. So I wanted to kind of walk you guys around, give you a revised walk around of the truck. A lot of people have been saying, hey, where'd that come from? Hey, when did you add that? So again, I mean, I've added a ton from the Z1 snorkel to the Z1 assault bumper to, you know, the new 270 awning and all this other stuff. So again, I'm just going to walk you around the entire truck, do a really comprehensive walk around of my overlanding build on my truck, and hopefully it will give you some good info. I will put links to everything that I mentioned in the description down below. So again, if you're looking for a 270 awning, if you're looking for a snorkel, if you're looking for, you know, some of the best stuff for the D41 Frontier, I'm going to try and tell you everything that I've got, and if you want it, you can get it. So let's do the walk around of my 2023 Pro 4X Frontier and all the modifications.
Understand where it came from, but you got it, my got it. It began in the land of the sandstorm. I fought it, though I wanted everything to do with what you give to me. Loosening my grip.
All right, guys, so as I mentioned, we're just going to do a really quick walk around of my 23 D41 Frontier Pro 4X. Now, I've made a lot of modifications to this thing. So again, I'm just going to kind of start at the front, move my way around the side, and I'm going to walk you guys through everything that I've done to the truck. Try not to miss anything or forget anything. We're going to walk around with some bourbon in hand here and just do a quick walk around. So if you enjoy bourbon or D41 Frontiers, you're in the right place. All right, so let's start at the front here. So starting down low, of course I did, and this is one of the most recent modifications, I added the Z1 assault bumper. So if you just do the center section here, that is actually called the recon bumper. The wings on the side make it a full bumper. You do have to cut more of your bumper, but that's what turns it into the assault bumper. Now I love this bumper. I actually tapped a tree with it the last couple weekends ago when I was on a trip. It held up great. The D-ring mounts in the front are awesome. I was able to mount my open road 13K Panther 2S winch. Comes with a couple of wireless remotes and a wired remote. The Z1 bumper has that big hand hole right there that makes it really, really easy to reach in there and get to your clutch. So I like that because that makes it really accessible. It also allows for a 20-inch light bar, which I've got a Novesight 20-inch light bar in there, just using the stock mounts that came with the bumper and a couple of bolts and nuts that came with the light. Then I've got just a cheap fair lead there that I will link to down below, and a Factor 55 flat link is what I'm using for attaching like soft shackles, hard shackles, that kind of thing, whatever you want. And then with this bumper, you are able to retain your stock skid plates. So I've actually dinged mine up a little bit. It's kind of crushed in under there from Land Between the Lakes not too long ago. So oops, but you know, I use the truck and that's kind of the goal. Another thing about that bumper is they do give you a relocation thing for your adaptive cruise, which you'll see right in there. It does take a little bit of tweaking. I've had some people ask me questions about it and how can they get theirs right, and really it's just a matter of like testing it, just tweaking it until you get it just right and it stops giving you warnings. But it's really not that hard, and the fact that theirs is adjustable, I've heard some of the other bumper manufacturers are not adjustable. You can sort of tweak that thing and move it until you get it just right. All right, as far as lighting goes, I am back to stock lighting. I did have aftermarket fog lights down here in the front, but I did end up removing those just because I went to this new bumper. Now, the cool thing about these wings is they actually have slots in them that allow you to mount aftermarket lights. So I think eventually I will probably remove the stock fog lights and I will put something like Diode Dynamic SSC2 Pros or something like that in there. That same size and style is what I've heard fits. So probably will be upgrading the fog lights at some point. But honestly, right now I've wired the 20-inch light bar into the fog lights. So when I flip on my fog lights, it turns on both the 20-inch light bar and the fog lights at the same time, and it puts out plenty of light. So speaking of light, let's go up here to the hood. I do have these Co-Light ditch lights, and these are on these universal nightlight mounts. They basically just clamp to your hood. Now, some people say that they get rattles with these or that they're not that stout, but I mean, I've had these things on for a year and a half. I've been through the Wyoming BDR. I've been through Land Between the Lakes a few times, up through Michigan in the winter. I've got no rust. I've got no damage to my hood. They don't move a bit, and they're great. I really like them. So, and they're like 20 bucks for the mounts, and you don't have to cut any of your fascia back here like you do with some of the other mounts. So I'm actually a big fan of these. I think for the money, they're great. And I think that the fact that you don't have to cut anything also adds some additional value to those. So those are my Co-Light ditch lights. Again, I'll link to those down below. As far as tires go, I have been running for about the last year these Kenda Cleaver RTs. Now I've had these on a 2nd gen Frontier that I had. I've had these on a 2nd gen Xterra that I had, and they are fantastic all-around tires. They're a little more aggressive than an AT, but not quite as aggressive as an MT. So they're a great hybrid tire that is still good on road, not as choppy and loud on road as the MTs are, but more aggressive than an AT. So for me, these have worked out really well, and I swear by them. I love them. The size of them are 285/70 R17. Now, I am still on my stock Pro 4X wheels, but I do have a 1-inch wheel spacer, which caused quite a bit more rubbing. And people say this all the time, well, if you didn't do a spacer, it wouldn't rub. I get it, guys, but I can't do the wheels tucked into fenders thing. For me, I think this is about the perfect fitment. It just looks right to me. And so for that, it was worth it. And I'll put a card up here in the top right corner to the video I did showing exactly what I had to cut, but it was just a little tiny bit of metal back there and remove some of the fender liner. Which I don't really care about. It hasn't really hurt anything, but you may not want to do that. But so again, if you don't do wheel spacers, then you probably don't need to do much, if any, cutting, maybe a little bit of a melt mod, and that's it. But I personally think it looks better with the 1-inch spacers all around, so I did it. For right now, I do not have sliders yet, so I just took the steps off. They are modular, and you can just remove the steps. So I just removed the steps and left the bars in place, literally just for aesthetics at this point. But I do plan to get some sliders at some point, hopefully sooner than later, because again, I've been smashing my armor against stuff and I don't love it. So sliders will be coming, probably full armor. I'm also hoping and waiting. Z1 I know is working on a rear bumper, and I'm excited to see what that looks like because I don't love a lot of the other options. So anyways, more to come on that when it comes. This little guy right here is my ghost antenna for my Midland MXT 275 GMRS radio. I run a hard mounted GMRS radio so that when I'm on trips I can easily communicate with my buddies and stuff, so I don't have to use handhelds. I do have some handhelds, some Baofangs that I really like, and for the money they're a great thing to have as like a backup, or if you have a buddy that doesn't have a radio, I bring those. But for my own use on trips, I try and use the Midland MXT 275 because it just works great and it's built into the vehicle. I don't have to worry about power or recharging or anything like that. All right, so continuing on, you're gonna notice the snorkel. This is the Z1 D41 snorkel, and I love this thing personally. I think on the 2nd gen Frontiers, a lot of the snorkels kind of look the same, but I like that they basically designed this one for the D41 Frontier, and I think it just looks great as is. I really like, this is actually aluminum metal, the guard there, so it's heavier duty than a lot of the plastic ones, and I love how it just fits the body line of the truck. So that is the snorkel. Another recent mod is the cab rack. Now this is that really cheap 270 cab rack off Amazon, and because of my rooftop tent hanging over the cab, I did have to modify it, so I did end up cutting a fair amount off the back here, and I notched that a little bit just to make it kind of fit around the rooftop tent. But what it did is it does give me just some extra space up here on top of the cab to throw things like, you know, water jugs or fuel cans or anything like that. I also think it looks better with the truck. It just fills it in. The truck felt a little empty with, you know, all that stuff on the rear, the bed rack, the rooftop tent, and then nothing on the cab. So I just kind of wanted to fill that in. Now you will notice that there is sort of like some trim down here along the bottom. I'm making a video about the install of this. It actually wasn't too bad, and it is only $270, which is a great price, but the fairing on the front here is really weak metal. So at about 35 to 40 miles an hour, I had a vibration. It was like smacking against the roof of the truck and making a really annoying noise. And again, there either will be by the time this video comes out or should be a video that's out about that and how I solved it. So basically what I did was I ran some trim underneath of it that has some really strong adhesive on it, and then it's rubber. And then that basically lives in between it. It kind of helps with the airflow and helps push the air up over the fairing anyways, but then it keeps it from slamming against the roof, and it fixed the problem for $3 worth of materials basically. So some people have strengthened the fairing, and that may be something I do in the future if I start to have problems again, but for now that's solved it. So again, either check out that video if it's out or check the channel, make sure to subscribe because there will be a video on this thing. But for 270 bucks when all the others are 800 or more, to me it was kind of a no-brainer. Like, I don't need the thing, I really just wanted it for looks, if I'm being honest. So anyways, that is that, and I'll put a link in the description below to that. Now, coming around here to the side of the truck, you're going to see this massive 270 awning. This is the top oak 270 awning. It's freestanding, as you can see. You do have legs that come with it, so you can drop these legs down underneath if you need them. If it's super windy, you can stake it down if it's super windy. It's also got built-in lights, which I love. But this thing is like 499 bucks. and I believe it's free shipping. I'll put a link in the description below to this, but I think I also have a coupon code that can save you like 10%, so you can save another 50 bucks. But I mean, this thing is great. I mean, for 500 bucks, 450 bucks, this thing has 172 square feet of coverage space, so it covers up the whole back end of the truck, so I can come back here and I can cook underneath of it. I'm totally covered. So just to kind of give you a first-person view here, this is the back of the truck. Now I'm a few feet away here. I'm just going to turn and show you the side of the truck. I mean, the coverage area is just massive. They also do have a wall kit. I don't have it, but they have a wall kit, and it just attaches via this Velcro here, so it's really easy to install. I think it's like $200 or $300 for the wall kit. But so if you wanted a wall kit and you wanted to make this winter proof, basically be able to throw a propane fire pit inside of there and make it a completely enclosed space, you could totally do that. But again, the fabric is really nice. Like the quality of the materials is really nice. They have these cam strap style ropes that you use to attach it. And so they actually, you just pull on these cam straps until they get tight, and it puts a ton of tension on it. So versus my old OVS, which I really liked that awning, but it had these like lashing strap style and you could just never quite get them tight. But with these type of straps, it's really easy to get all that tension in there and not have a bunch of sagging. I did do a video on this awning. If you want to learn more about this, I'll put a card up there and I'll put it in the description below. So check that out to learn more about the awning. So now coming around here to the back, you will notice that I am running a bed rack. That bed rack is from a company called Extrusion Overland. And honestly, I will say I've run this for a year and a half. Basically, I put this on the night that I brought my truck home. It's been on. But it's made completely of aluminum extrusion. So with all this extrusion, it gives you ways to mount things. Like I have a 1/4-20 right here, so I can strap a camera to the side of the truck if I want to. You can also put, there's some lights that have 1/4-20s. My Tiny Repel bug repellent has a 1/4-20 on the bottom of it, so you can just put whatever you want up here. And I used the channel to mount that thing. So you can mount stuff pretty much wherever you want, which I love. It's aluminum, so there's no rust. So you don't have to worry about any rusting or anything like that. And I mean, I have beat on this thing for a year and a half, and it's been great. It's been fantastic. So I am sold on aluminum. I will not do a steel bed rack again because I don't want to deal with trying to retouch up paint. Another cool thing is they have these little 90-degree kick-up brackets, these little triangular shaped brackets. That's how I mount my awning. So this actually kicks it out beside the rooftop tent and then allows me to easily mount my awning to the side of it, and it's higher so that I'm not going to hit my head on it. So it solves that problem, and it also gets it out around your rooftop tent, which I love. And it's such a simple, easy thing. Another thing is they have these proprietary brackets here that fit into their extrusion, and then you basically just strap your rooftop tent right into those. So there's 4 of those, 2 up front and 2 in the back, and that's how I touch my rooftop tent. So again, assembling everything and adding everything to this rack has been a breeze, and I love it. All right, so I'm gonna back up here for a second and show you something else. You're gonna see that big antenna right back there by the rooftop tent. That is for my Wilson WeBoost. That is a cell phone booster. I swear by these things. Yes, they are a little on the pricey side. It's about 500 bucks, but it does make a huge difference. When you're someplace like I am right now, if you're national forest, you have really scant reception, or it's like 1 bar or barely any service. With the cell booster, you can get 2-3 bars. I mean, I've gone from like 0.01 megabyte download to like 1.5, 2, like, 10, 20 times the amount of signal that I had before. So is it gonna let you stream shows? No, but it will let you get text messages through or make a call in an emergency, which is why I run it, and I really like that. So that is the antenna up there, and then the actual WeBoost I've got hidden behind my rear seat in the back of the truck. So again, I really like the WeBoost. I kind of swear by them. I've also checked out a High Boost, which is kind of a competitor. It's also great. So I mean, if you're looking for something like that, I'll put links in the description down below, but I swear by them. I do think that they work. Obviously, if you have no reception, it's not going to do anything. So just keep that in mind. But if you have a little bit of reception, it will make a difference. While we're back here, that is my open road rooftop tent. I love this thing too. This is like the 3rd rooftop tent that I've had, and I plan to just run it for the foreseeable future because it's great. With that X hinge down there on the bottom, it actually lifts up the whole roof of the tent about 8 or 10 inches, so it gives you more headroom at the top and it gives you more footroom at the bottom. So instead of jamming your feet into the tent, you have a flat surface at the bottom. And I'm a tall guy, so I'm 6'2", so it actually does make a big difference to have that extra little bit of room. And for changing and stuff, it's nice that it's super tall. Now, I don't have the poles in it right now to hold the awning out. Normally the awning would be sticking out, but my 270 does sort of conflict with that a little bit, so I've still got to figure that out. But just FYI, that's why it looks like that. So I'm coming back under the awning here. I did recently add these Novesight halo lights back here. These things are pretty cool. You can turn on the exterior part of them, just sort of like a halo or like a parking light. You can even wire them into your parking lights. So when you turn on the parking lights, it will turn on the halos, but then you can also independently turn on the spots. So I've got these back here as chase lights, essentially. So those are kind of nice. Those are controlled by my red arc system. So I do have a dual battery down here in the back. In this Plano crate is a 200 amp hour lithium LiFePO4 battery with all the red arc control stuff in there. And then up front in the cab is where I actually keep the control panel. So as you can see here, there is a whole bunch of buttons. So like I've got my fridge on right now. I've got the Wii Boost on. Actually, while we're in here, I'll turn on the halos. So I mounted my control switch for that right here. So you can make them white halo or yellow halo, and then you can also turn on the chase lights or turn them off. So for now, I'm just gonna leave the halos on. We'll go back there, but the red arc controls everything. So it controls my strobe lights. It controls these halo lights here. This strobe bar in the middle will flash yellow and white. So if I've got people behind me, that's kind of why I put these back here. If I've got people behind me and it's really dusty or foggy and the weather's really bad, I've got this strobe that will flash yellow and white, and I've got these halos that give more up high visibility so that people behind me don't run into me, which has almost happened a time or two in Wyoming and other places where I was on trips. So, but all that can be controlled from the cab, from the red arc, which I really love. Same with the fridge, as you saw. I've got an Iceco APL 55. And then I fabricated this tilting drawer slide myself. I'll put a card up here in the top right corner to that. It was actually really easy. I used a couple of limiting straps and basically a piece of wood. And then I mounted the slide that goes with the fridge to that piece of wood. And then when you slide it out, you just kind of lower it down, and then the limiting straps keep it held up. So then, you know, instead of having to reach up, this thing would be, you know, up here. Instead, it can come right down here. It just makes accessing the fridge way easier. So then I can get in there. I can reach into the inside. This is also powered off that 200 amp hour battery that is in the back of the truck. Now I am using some roller cam 3-foot lashing straps on these. These things are amazing. Like I had some cheap lashing straps and it kept moving around, and the slide would kind of, or the fridge would kind of move around and would get loose from time to time, and I had to keep tightening it up. Since I've switched to the roller cam straps, those things have been fabulous and they have not moved at all. They've just made it way easier to kind of keep the fridge where it should be. You can see here too, I did kind of come up with a, I think, clever little way to make this cord work. So this cord is strapped here with a zip tie, because I always worry, I used to pinch it all the time in the slide. So basically what I did was I zip tied it over here to this little corner of the fridge, and then I zip tied it to this little D-ring shackle, but it acts as a hinge. So when I push the fridge back, this thing moves with it and then it lays down, but it keeps that cord out here and away from the slide so that it doesn't get pinched in the slide. So just to show you from a visibility standpoint back here with the halos on, and then also the strobes, again, when you're off-road, I'm telling you, when we were in Wyoming for 2 weeks straight and you're driving on these plains for 8-10 hours a day and it's just dusty, dusty, dusty and you can't see anything, there was a guy that was behind me that was like, if you turn those strobes on, I'm going to murder you. And when I turned them on, he was like, thank you so much, actually. I'm not mad at you. They're great. They made a huge difference and made it way easier for him to see exactly where I was so that he didn't come flying up on me and accidentally tap me in the rear or smash my truck with his truck. One thing that I kind of skipped over is this is my Otzi trash bag. This is actually from another system, but again, because of the modularity of the extrusion rack, it has these posts or these kind of holes in the top here where it's meant to mount to their modular system. But what I did was I just used the stock hardware that came with my extrusion rack and I attached it and hung it up here. So this trash can basically just hangs right here in the side, so I have easy access to it. I can put my trash in there. It's inside so it doesn't catch the wind or anything. But then that's where I just keep my trash bag. I don't have a rear carrier, a rear tire carrier or anything like that to strap a trash bag to, so I just keep it in there. It's right behind my fridge. Plenty of room. And then I've always got access to a trash can so that if I come across some trash in the woods and I want to pick it up, I can do that. Or if I'm camping, I've got plenty of space for trash. So I'm coming around here to the back. Obviously, there is a drawer system here. Let me get my fridge out of the way here and I will show it to you. Now I built this myself. It's about a 44 by 44 square. I did a video on that too. So if you're looking to build a drawer system, I love this thing because compared to the deck, it was only about 250, 300 bucks worth of materials and it's massive. So like I had a deck system before and it did not have nearly this much storage space. I also built it out of 3/4 inch plywood, which is kind of overkill. So you could do thinner, like 1/2 inch plywood, save yourself some money and also save yourself some weight. But I mean, I've got all my kitchen gear in here. I keep my Helinox chair and table in here. I keep my jet boil cooking stuff in here. I keep pretty much all my stuff in here. in that drawer. And then on the other side, I've got recovery stuff. I've just got a ton of like electrical stuff in here, fire starting stuff, all my stuff for my awning. I've got a propane fire pit back behind there. The recovery gear's all back behind there. So there's just a ton of storage in these drawers, and they're very simple and they're wood. So, you know, then you can do things like what I did here, which is this T-Mat. So T-Mat is a company out of Ohio that makes this proprietary like X-shaped plastic stuff, and you'll see it runs all the way back. I basically covered the whole top of my drawer system with this stuff. What they typically make it for is it's like the size of your bed. So again, I'll put a link in the description below, but you could get one just for the bed of a Frontier if you didn't have a drawer system or didn't want a drawer system. But then they've got these little like things that plug into it that you use to like sandwich stuff. So say that you had a propane tank, you can put these attachment things in there and it will basically hold the propane. I use it for my chainsaw quite a bit, so I will put my chainsaw in its plastic box in here, and then I will basically just sandwich it between like 4 of those little plugs, the things that go into these holes, and you can customize what you're putting in here. But it gives you a ton of flexibility. If you want to throw a Plano crate in there or something else, you can use this T-Mat to customize kind of how the bookends are that hold your stuff in place. Again, over here to the extrusion rack, this is a cool thing. This is actually a slide. So this thing is actually a friction slide. There's a bunch of stuff on this right now, so I won't pull it out, but this thing basically slides out, and then when it gets all the way out to here, then I can access my propane for cooking right here on the tailgate. And this right here is actually an idea that I had where I took a trolling motor mount and I attached one half of it to my diesel heater and then the other half to this slide. And then when winter comes around, I can easily swap my diesel heater right onto that. And it's basically like a quick release. So I can throw it on there when I want to go on a trip. I can take it off when I get home, slide it out, and then throw it in my garage. But it gives you a way to really easily and securely attach your diesel heater for winter trips. So around here at the back too, I did do a Billy Bars tailgate cover. I do love this thing. It is a little on the pricey side. It's about $400, $300 and some dollars. So it is a little bit on the pricey side. But it has this marine grade foam material that's really nice on your knees and stuff when you're climbing up here to get to your rooftop tent or whatever. It has a couple cup holders, which is really nice, and it's way better than the corrugated stuff that comes with it. Would I spend that kind of money again? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. It is really nice, but there are other options out there too, so totally up to you. But again, I do like it. So then coming around here to the side on the extrusion rack, you'll see there are a couple of molly panels that I've got here, and I've got some quick fist. I'll throw an axe and like a shovel up there when I go on a trip. I don't carry them 24/7. Because I'm not trying to be a Overlander, but I will throw them up there when I'm on a trip and I need them. So over here you can see the shoe bag, you can see the rest of the open road rooftop tent. Again, this thing is a really good deal at like $2,200. It's been on sale for a while now. I'll put a link in the description below, but I mean, I love this tent. It's just so comfortable and it's so roomy and it's really high quality. It's actually really well made for the money. So anyways, if you're looking at a $4,000 tent, definitely consider the open road because it is extremely similar to those way more expensive tents and just as nice in my opinion. I did recently add this all top, but this is one of those fold out shower rooms. So this thing, and I don't have it deployed right now because I didn't need it, but it does pop out. And it does have a light in it too, which is actually really nice. So it does have a light inside of it. If it's dark and nighttime, you need to go to the bathroom or take a shower, you can do that. But it is a really nice shower tent with a roof, and it does come with a floor and a drain. So again, you can take showers, you can go to the bathroom, you can use it for all kinds of things, but that thing is pretty handy. Before we finish, we're losing the light here. There are a couple other things to show you inside here. I did go with, people ask about my mounts quite a bit. These are the off-roam mounts, no drill mounts. I went with 2 of them, and I've got one over there that I use for a phone holder. So I basically slap my phone on there for like shooting video and stuff. And then I've got my my Garmin Overlander over here, which I love. It's definitely on the pricey side, and I don't think I would recommend it necessarily for the money, but you can take it off. It works like a tablet. So like when we were in Wyoming, if we wanted to look up things or look at our you know, you could record trails and stuff. So we would look at what elevation we were at, how long we'd driven that day, how long was active, how long was parked. Like I would just grab this thing off of there and take it out and run it off battery, and we would talk through it around the campfire, and then I'd take it back and slap it on here, and then it charges on that mount, and then it just attaches with a long arm to the off-roam, which is pretty handy. I do have this little splitter down here, which I plugged into the 1 cigarette lighter that we get in these D41s, but now I've got 3 cigarette lighter plugs down there and 4 USB-A's, which is kind of nice. So I do use that quite a bit to just charge things, power things, recharge batteries and stuff. You can see my Midland mic is over there with a magnetic mount, so it's right down there where I can grab it and get to it if I need it. And then again, that's the red arc there. But then otherwise on the inside, it's pretty standard, pretty stock. I do have this little Smitty built trash bag thing that attaches to the back. I just throw little like receipts and, you know, like mint wrappers and stuff in there, trash that I don't want to have around the cab, kind of keep it as clean as possible. But that is pretty much it. That's the inside. All right, guys, so I think I got everything. I hope I got everything. But I hope that's good information for you. Again, if you're building a D41, they're such cool trucks. Like I had a D40 and it's awesome. It was Titan swapped and all that stuff, and I did love it. These new trucks have so many nice upgrades and things, but the fact that they're so similar to the old ones is also appealing to me, and I love that. All the modifications that I've done, I've been like, yeah, I get this. Like, this is really similar to the last truck. So if you're thinking of making the upgrade, if you have a problem with your old D40 and you're thinking about it, I think it's worth it. I think that the D41 has some nice upgrades. I get way better gas mileage. Even with the 33s, that definitely tanked my gas mileage some, but I'm still getting 17-ish. Probably with the 33s and all that stuff strapped to it. I mean, I'm probably 1,000, 1,200 pounds worth of gear that I'm carrying all the time, plus the bumper, plus the snorkel. I mean, I'm probably 1,400 pounds, I bet, in gear that I carry on this thing, maybe more. So anyways, highly recommend these trucks. I think they're fantastic. If you're thinking of getting one and you're comparing it to a Tacoma, it's gonna be way cheaper than a Tacoma in most cases. So maybe that's my Nissan bias showing through a little bit, but I personally think these are great trucks for overlanding, for camping, just general daily use, right? So anyways, I hope that was helpful and interesting for you. So if you enjoyed the video, definitely click that like button. If you're not already subscribed, there's gonna be a ton of D41 content, and I already have quite a bit here, so I'd love to have you as a subscriber. Definitely consider clicking that subscribe button, clicking the bell to be notified when new videos drop, because I do a couple every week, usually like a DIY mod or a Nissan D41 mod or something like that, gear videos, or like newbie overlanding type podcast stuff. So if you're into anything, camping, overlanding, D41s, gear, this is the channel for you. Also below this video is a join button. That's just a passive way to sort of support the channel. You also get early access to the videos and some other perks. So if you want to do that, check that out. Then there is a link to my Patreon page where we've got a 24/7 Discord. We all kind of chat about our rigs. There's a couple of D41 guys in there, so that's fun. But it's just a place where we all kind of hang out and we talk about camping and overlanding and our rigs and gear and all kinds of things. We do a once-a-month Zoom call, and we also do 1 or 2 trips a year to try and meet up in person, which is a ton of fun. Also below this video is a link to my website where I've got funny overlanding camping themed patches and stickers. I've also got ATO merch, so if you're into that stuff, if you want patches and stickers for ATO, you can get those there. But also things like Don't Burn Your Wiener and It's a Hot Dog, or Weekend Warrior and It's a Jerry Can, that kind of thing. So check those out. And then last but not least, there's a link to the Newbie Overlanders Facebook group. Totally free to join, tons of awesome members. If you're kind of tired of the big groups and all the bullying that happens in there, this may be a good place to check out. One thing that I am noticing right now that I didn't touch on is my solar. I do have 200 watts of solar panels up there. Those feed directly into that 200 amp hour LiPo4 battery, and that's what keeps that topped off. So I basically just run it completely off solar, and it powers all my stuff indefinitely for free. So that'll do it for this video. Again, hopefully that was helpful for you. Hope to see you guys in the comments, and we'll see you next time.